Okay, so way back when, 1990, this is about a year before Wesley Snipes played Nino Brown. It's back when Lawrence Fishburne was just going by Larry. A guy named Roger Guinevere Smith was just Roger Smith. Teresa Randall, this is before she was Girl 6. And more important, this is before Christopher Walken was dancing in a Fat Boy Slim Weapon of Choice video. This is back when he was dancing and doing his thing and being super cool in a movie called King of New York as Frank White. Not the King of New York, just King of New York, because you don't need the. It's just that badass. It's King of New York. We're going to get into it on this edition, this episode of Film Fan. Is that what I'm still calling it? We'll get into it. King of New York, next, right here. Hey, welcome to Film Fan, or whatever I'm calling. I'm going to change the name of the channel at some point. If you saw my last video, you'll know why I'm saying that. But welcome to my channel where I talk about movies and movie-related things. If that is also your thing, you want to hear me talk about that kind of stuff, you're interested in all that, and you haven't subscribed yet and you're new, go ahead and hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so you know when I put up new content. I truly appreciate having you here. Let's get into it. So King of New York. This is a neo-noir crime thriller by the often zany, super cool, punkish director, bad boy Abel Ferrara, who directed this. He's known for doing some kind of kooky, zany, graphic, violent and sex kind of stuff. I think one of his first films was like a porno or something. He did a film called 9 Lives of a Wet Pussy or something like that. Forgive me if I got that wrong, but it's something like that. And he even jumps in and has a fuck scene in this. It's like a weird thing. He did Driller Thriller. He did Miss 45. He did a film after King of New York called Bad Lieutenant starring Harvey Keitel. He's worked with William Dafoe on a bunch of stuff. A lot of underground, classic stuff. King of New York fits in that same realm of his movies. And this is considered this iconic gangster drug movie. It's a movie where, the character Frank White, Biggie, and a heck of a lot of people in hip hop have used that, reference Frank White. In fact, Biggie's known to even check into the Plaza Hotel, the iconic, lovely Plaza Hotel in New York. He checks in, or used to check in as Frank White. And obviously a lot of his music reference Frank White. Jay-Z did it as well. So let's talk about it. Let's just talk about the film, and then I'll give you my quick take on it and what I think about it. Because honestly, it's I thought about doing this for a while. I actually taped an episode about 2-3 months ago, and I didn't like it because I just felt like there were some things missing and some things I left off the table that I really wanted to address. So we're going to talk about it right now. Basically, this film is about a guy named Frank White, played by Christopher Walken in the lead role. He's in jail. At the beginning of the film, he gets released from jail. He heads back to the Plaza Hotel where he's taken up residence. Again, the lovely Plaza Hotel in New York City, icon. And he meets up with his gang, and he sets his mind in motion to taking over the streets again, and basically becoming king of New York. Part of his gang is a really ensemble cast. There's a lot of people in this film from back in the day. Again, Wesley Snipes plays one of the cops in this film. David Caruso is one of the cops in the film. But this is about a year before, like I said, Wesley plays, on the opposite side of the law, and he plays Nino Brown in New Jack City. Lawrence Fishburne is in this. Lawrence Fishburne's character is so over the top. He plays basically Frank White's main henchman, crazy psycho guy in the gang, and he's just over the top. The performance is so over the top. The character is so over the top. But if it weren't for Lawrence Fishburne playing it as well as he does, it would just be cheesy and not believable. But Lawrence takes it full throttle and just goes with it and makes it kind of fun, even though the character, like I said, is kind of like this cutout stereotype of this gold chain wearing, Kangol wearing guy. But that's what they did. I mean, the 90s hip hop scene and drug game, I guess that was the outfit of choice. Anyway, ensemble cast here. Steve Buscemi, a young Steve Buscemi is in this. He plays one of the drug chemists and part of the gang. And there's Giancarlo Esposito is in this, and he's part of the gang. Harold Perrineau from Oz and also Lost and the last 2 Matrix movies. He's got a small role in this and a really memorable scene on the train. But yeah, Frank White is this guy. He comes back, he takes over the streets again, kills all of the rival gangs, which is part of the issue with this film for me, but I'll get that in a second. And then he's also got this thing about him where he wants to do good. He wants to clean up the streets. You know, he wants to be this guy who builds this children's hospital, and he wants to cut through the red tape, you know, by using his drug money in order to get this this hospital built, because there's a couple scenes with like some politicians where he's talking about getting a hospital built, but of course they're giving him the runaround. They don't have the money, there's bureaucracy, or, you know, and red tape and all that bullshit. He's like, well, I'm going to get it done. You know, I'm Frank White, you know, whatever. He's doing a drug deal like in a children's hospital with a young sick girl in the bed right there. And he's doing a drug deal with the head of the Asian, you know, mafia, whatever. So that's just kind of like, this guy is like, the problem with this film for me is his character, Frank White. Okay, actually, you know what? Let me not get into Frank White's character just yet. Let me just talk more about the actual story. So yeah, he's this guy. He's out of jail. He comes take over the streets, but he also thinks he wants to do some good. And then David Caruso's character, he plays a detective, and Wesley Snipes played a detective, and Victor Argo, who's arguably probably the second best actor in this film and one of the best characters in the film, he plays the older, wiser, sort of old school cop detective who wants to get Frank White, but wants to do it by the book. David Caruso and Wesley Snipes, they kind of want to get Frank by any means necessary. So they cross the line, and their moral compass is a little off as well. That's essentially the movie. It's not a particularly well written script. I just want to say that. Nicholas St. John, who collaborated with Abel Ferrara on a bunch of other movies like Driller Thriller and earlier films in Ferrara's history. It's not a great script. I don't even think the story is that great. This is a film where the reputation precedes it. I didn't see it in 1990. I didn't see it in the theaters. I didn't see it when it came out. It was trashed upon its premiere, the New York Film premiere, New York Film Festival premiere. People got up, walked out, they booed, they cursed it. I believe it was just it was a mess. And I saw it much later on DVD, and I saw it with the idea of, oh yeah, it's supposed to be this great gangster film. We got to see this. And my boys told me about it, and I watched it, and I did enjoy it. But through the years, seeing it again and again and again, it kind of just holds that place in your mind of like, it's that movie. And of course, you know, once hip hop took it, it was like, yeah, Frank White. It became this larger than life character, larger than life gangster drug movie that was like, you know, it was like a classic, and it was in that realm of Scarface and all these other movies. And realistically speaking, I don't think it's a great film overall for many reasons. But it does hold its place as a certified cult classic, but strictly because of Christopher Walken playing Frank White. Frank White is King of New York. Christopher Walken, King of New York. Christopher Walken makes this film. Let me know if you think I'm totally off on this in the comments below, but I don't, you know, visually speaking, I think Ferrara did a great job as far as directing it goes and capturing New York, even though he hated doing this film and he thinks it was totally over the top and a lot of it was so ridiculous and phony and everyone wearing black, all the drug dealers, and it just had a fake Hollywood thing about it. And he talks about that in some of the commentary on the actual disc. I'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, it's like it's not a particularly great film, but it does look good. The cinematography by Bojan Bozelli, who also did Deep Cover, another drug crime film with the same kind of look, and also starring Lawrence Fishburne, which I did a review on this channel. You can check for that in the comments below, and I'll put a link, or you can find it up here somewhere. But yeah, it looks great. It captures New York. It captures New York City streets. If you're a New Yorker, you will feel this movie in your blood. But I say again, it's more one of those movies that has that the reputation precedes it, and it's gotten this, you know, mythological status. But at its heart, if you really look at it, if it weren't for Christopher Walken, it wouldn't be that great of a film. That's just my take on it. Like, it wouldn't. It's really about Frank White. And let's talk about Frank White for a second. His character, for me, we don't empathize with Frank White. Like, you know what I mean? Like, certain films, you look at Carlito's Way, Carlito Brigante, Al Pacino playing that role. He had a definite dream. He had a mission. He had a motive. He knew what he wanted to do. He got out. He got off on a technicality. Sean Penn, who plays his lawyer, gets him out. Dave Kleinfeld. And Carlito is intent on getting out. He wants out. He knows he wants to save his money, get his girl, and go to the Bahamas and sell rental car, or, you know, rent car. That's what he wants to do. So you root for him. Frank White is trying to play this role where, yeah, he's got some good, he thinks he wants to clean up the streets. There's a scene where he's talking to Victor Argo's character, the detective, Detective Parrish, and he's saying that the people that he killed, the drug dealers that he did kill, all had it coming. They were all bad guys. So he cleaned up the streets. It's almost like the same rationale that John Doe gives, played by Kevin Spacey in the movie Seven, where he's talking to Detective Mills and Detective Somerset in the back of the car. And Detective Mills says, I thought all you did was kill innocent people. And John Doe basically like kind of laughs at that, sneers at it. And it's like, innocent? Like all these people had it coming to them. So Frank White justifies the murder of his rival gang leaders by suggesting that these guys all had one guy was pimping like young girls and, ruining his people, and they were all like bad people. So he's cleaning up the streets even though he's a bad guy. The problem is he's self-serving. There's really not, you don't really believe that he's got a good side to him and the good side is waiting to get out. That's not what happens here. And that's due to the not having his character written very well, right? So the only reason why you get past that when you watch it on the surface, like watch it the first couple of times, again, is because Walken just does a hell of a job delivering this really calm, cool guy who occasionally loses his mind and just murders people at will and can blow his top, and the hair is all standing up, and that little grin that he gives, it's over the top except for Christopher Walken. That's all I can say. There's even a scene in the beginning, after he gets out of jail, he goes to the plaza, he's in a shower, he breaks the fourth wall and looks right into the camera with that toothy Christopher Walken grin and just kind of smiles at you to tell you, look, this is all bullshit, but watch how much fun I have with it. So that's my thing for King of New York. Speaking of going back to the character thing and comparing it to other films, and speaking of Wesley Snipes, because again, a year later after this film, he plays Nino Brown. You look at Nino Brown was straight up gangster, didn't give a fuck. He wasn't trying to be a good guy. He didn't have a side of him that was nice. He was fucking gangster from beginning to end. From beginning to end, Nino Brown was Nino Brown. So you could take that ride, right? Frank White is trying to somehow, and he's not trying to convince you. I almost said it the wrong way, because he doesn't try to convince you. The fact that they wrote it where he's got this side to him where he's trying to do good and build a children's hospital implies that he's got a good side. He has a line that he talks about where he's describing how he just needs a year or whatever it is. I just need one more year to do good, or he's going to do X, Y, Z. But it's kind of, again, it's more self-serving. It's more delusions of grandeur and him wanting to be mayor. It's just not a well-done character, but it's well performed. If that made any sense. I think you know what I'm saying. Anyway, King of New York. Great film to own. Own it on 4K UHD. Arrow Video, who's doing a great job with their 4K content, released it, I think, October 2020. That's when I wound up picking it up, and it is a very fine 4K representation, much better than the previous version that was out. It's a 5.1 audio mix. It's Dolby Vision, I believe it is. It looks good. It feels good. The audio mix is right. It's balanced. It's not anything crazy. It's not reference quality sound. But the movie is not that loud to begin with. There's an action scene in this and a limo and some driving stuff that happens, but most of it is done on a more subtle level. But again, going back to the actual video, there's a lot of nighttime scenes here, so those come out really well. The blacks are very black. It's kind of got this inky blues and such going on. It's clean. It's got just the right amount of grain, not too much. The lighting is, again, very well. I think the cinematography in this film is great. I think the performance by Walken is fantastic. I think the ensemble cast, being what it is what it is. That's it. King of New York. If you haven't seen it, you should most definitely seen it. And again, if you don't own it in your collection, you should own it. It is an iconic film, but again, to me, it is only iconic because of Frank White, because of King of New York, because of Christopher Walken. It is probably one of his most memorable, and many consider it to be his best performance. So if you're a Walken fan, you have to own this film. If you're a New Yorker, you should own this film. If you love crime drama pictures, neo-noir stuff, and this drug stuff, and you should see this film. I think without Walken playing this role, this would have just been a dark sort of, average B-movie drug film, crime film, and that's it. And it probably wouldn't have achieved the status that it has achieved. it is strictly because of Christopher Walken. How many times have I said that now? That's it for me on Film Fan or wherever the hell I'm calling the channel. If you like this video, hit that like button. I truly appreciate it. If you've seen King of New York, who hasn't? Well, if you haven't, go see it right away. But if you've seen it and you like the film, go ahead and let me know in the comments below what you think about it. Or if you hated the film, let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you agree with me on my take. And that's it for me. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so you know when I put up new content. And I will see you on the next Film Fan or whatever the hell I'm going to call the channel. Peace.